Zarathis stood tall in the command center of her warship, watching the blue planet below. Her silver skin gleamed under the harsh lights and her forearms moved with deadly grace as she studied the tactical displays the Kethmori Empire had conquered. 47 worlds in the past century, and Earth would be number 48. The alien commander's elongated skull housed a brain 3 times larger than any human's, and her species had evolved on a world where gravity was twice as strong as Earth's, making her naturally superior in every physical way. Her people lived for centuries while humans barely managed a handful of decades. "Commander, the human delegation has arrived," announced her Lieutenant Veltar, who shared the same reptilian features and towering height. Zarathis laughed a sound like grinding metal. "Send them to the negotiation chamber. I want to see these weak creatures face to face before we claim their world." In the sterile white room, 5 humans sat around a curved table looking impossibly small compared to the alien furniture. The lead negotiator was a woman named Lisa Martinez, who appeared to be in her 30s with dark hair and tired eyes. Behind her sat 4 other representatives, including an older man named Joe Baker and a young woman called Amy Chen. "I am Commander Zarathis of the Kethmori fleet," the alien announced as she entered the room, her massive frame casting shadows across the humans. "Your species has exactly 72 hours to surrender your planet or face complete annihilation." Lisa Martinez stood up slowly, her hands steady despite the impossible situation. "We appreciate you agreeing to this meeting, Commander. We hope we can find a peaceful solution." Zarathis tilted her massive head, studying the human woman with curiosity. "Peaceful solution. The Kethmori do not negotiate with inferior species. We simply inform you of your fate as a courtesy." She gestured with one of her 4 arms toward the viewport, showing Earth. "Your people are weak, short-lived, and technologically primitive. Why would we treat you as equals?" "Because we have something you want," Lisa replied calmly. "Our planet. Our resources. You could simply destroy everything, but that would be wasteful. Instead, you want us gone so you can harvest what Earth has to offer." The alien commander's eyes narrowed. "True, but we can simply eliminate your species and take what we need. The process will take longer, but the result is the same." Amy Chen spoke up, her voice trembling slightly. "What if we could prove that humans have value, something that would benefit your empire?" Zarathis laughed again. "What could your pathetic species possibly offer beings like us? You cannot even prevent your own planet from warming. You fight endless wars among yourselves, your bodies are fragile and your minds are simple. What value could you have?" Joe Baker leaned forward. "Commander, if I may ask, how many species has your empire encountered that willingly chose to fight back against impossible odds?" "None," Zarathis replied instantly. "All intelligent species recognize superior force and surrender immediately. It is the logical choice." "Exactly," Lisa said, "but humans are different. Might not be the strongest or smartest, but we have something else, something that might surprise you." The alien commander's expression shifted to one of mild interest. "Speak. Give us a test," Lisa continued. "Any challenge you want, if we fail you, can destroy our world as planned. But if we succeed, perhaps we can discuss other arrangements." Zarathis considered this proposal. Her species valued strength above all else, and she had to admit she was curious about these strange creatures who seemed so calm in the face of certain death. "Very well, I will devise a simple test that will demonstrate your species' limitations. Once you fail, we will proceed with the invasion." The commander left the humans alone while she considered options. She could force them to lift impossible weights or solve mathematical problems beyond their primitive minds, but something about their calm confidence intrigued her. Instead, she decided on something more creative. When she returned, her expression was predatory. "I have decided on your test. One of you will be placed in a survival scenario aboard my ship. If they survive 72 hours, we will discuss terms. If they fail, Earth burns." The humans exchanged glances and Lisa nodded. "We accept. What are the conditions?" "The chosen human will be given basic tools and placed in a section of my ship that contains various hazards. They must survive without any assistance. If they call for help or attempt to escape, they fail immediately. Amy. Chen stood up. I volunteer. No. Joe Baker interrupted. This should be my responsibility. I'm the oldest here and have the most experience. Lisa shook her head. I'm the team leader. This is my decision to make. Zarathis watched the humans argue, among themselves with growing amazement, instead of fighting over who would avoid the dangerous test. They were competing for the chance to face it. This behavior was completely alien to her experience. Silence, she commanded. I will choose. She studied each human carefully before pointing at Amy Chen. You, the young one, you seem the most frightened, which will make your inevitable failure more amusing. Amy took a deep breath and nodded. I'm ready. 2 hours later, Amy found herself alone, in a section of the alien ship that resembled a twisted maze. The walls were made of some dark metal that seemed to absorb light, and strange sounds echoed from unseen sources. She had been given a basic toolkit, containing a small light, a knife, some rope, and a container of water. The first challenge came quickly as she explored her prison. The floor suddenly tilted at a steep angle, and she had to grab onto exposed pipes to avoid sliding into a pit filled with glowing liquid. She could hear Zarathis speaking through hidden speakers. Already struggling human. This section was designed to test balance, something your species clearly lacks. Amy ignored the taunts and carefully worked her way across the tilted surface using the rope to create handholds. She moved slowly and deliberately, taking time to test each step. The alien commander had expected her to panic or rush, but instead, she showed patience. Hour 6 brought a new challenge as the temperature began dropping. Rapidly, Amy's breath became visible, and frost started forming on the metal walls. She tore strips from her clothing to wrap around her hands and feet, then found a narrow alcove where she could huddle for warmth. Your primitive biology cannot handle temperature variations, Zarathis announced. Soon you will freeze and your people will pay the price for your weakness. But Amy had grown up camping with her family in Colorado winters. She knew how to conserve body heat and recognized that moving around too much would only make her colder. She waited patiently for the temperature cycle to change. By hour 12, the young woman had faced electrical barriers, toxic gas releases, and a section where the artificial gravity reversed itself. Each time she adapted using simple tools and clever thinking rather than brute force. She talked to herself quietly, working through problems step by step. Zarathis found herself watching the human with growing fascination. This creature should have failed within the first few hours, yet she continued to survive. The alien commander had designed these challenges based on the assumption that humans would react with fear and panic. Instead, Amy Chen displayed something the Kethmori had never encountered before. She didn't just endure the challenges, she learned from them. When the electrical barriers appeared, she used her knife to test which surfaces were safe. When the gravity reversed, she moved slowly and carefully, mapping the new environment before proceeding. Hour 18 brought the most dangerous test yet as sections of the floor began disappearing, revealing deep pits below. Amy studied the pattern carefully and realized the disappearances followed a sequence. She counted the timing and began jumping from safe spot to safe spot using her rope as a safety line. Impossible, Zarathis muttered, watching from her command center. The probability calculations show she should have fallen by now. Her lieutenant Veltar looked confused. Commander, perhaps we underestimated their capabilities. No, Zarathis snapped. She is simply lucky it cannot last. But Amy continued to surprise them. Hour 24 passed, then 36. The young human had found ways to rest by wedging herself into secure positions and rationed her water carefully. She even managed to find condensation dripping from pipes to supplement her supply. The challenges continued, but Amy adapted to each one. When robotic defenders appeared, she avoided them rather than fighting. When acid began dripping from the ceiling, she used pieces of metal to create shields. The alien commander kept increasing the difficulty, but the human persisted. By hour 48, Zarathis was